Marksman rifle builds are hitting really hard now that the Tinkerer mask is out. I mean, I recently made a Marksman rifle build which was hitting more than 32 million per shot, which is really good damage. Now, that means that rifles can also hit really hard, right? Yes, I do have this build which can hit up to 27 million per shot. Now, the damage number will vary depends on how optimized your build is, whether you're going for just full-on damage or you want to add some survivability to it. But don't worry, even if you add some survivability, you'll still hit more than 25 million per shot, which is really good damage as well. Now, you can obviously ask me this question that why should we go for a rifle build over a marksman rifle build, which is already hitting harder than a rifle build? Well, I'm not really sure about you all, but for me, I do have the personal reason to do so, which is scope. I don't like using the scope all the time because it just allows me to zoom in, which I don't like because I don't like losing the FOV, and it just feels weird for me. I've been using marksman rifle for years, and I do quick scope with it, but still I don't prefer that, and I don't want to lose the scope because that means we're losing a lot of headshot damage. Where with the rifle build, I don't have to worry about that because it doesn't have a scope to begin with. All I have to do is line up that crosshair on top of the enemy and just fire the weapon. It does the job. Even though my rifle build previously that I made was hitting only 20 million per shot, I was still using it because I just don't like using the scope most of the time. Again, it's a me problem. I'm not saying that you have to follow that too. But if you're interested in making a rifle build which hits really hard, well then let me show you. Now, as for the build, the main thing is obviously the weapon because it matters which weapon you're choosing for that one-shot kill. If you're using any other weapon than the 1886, then you will actually have problem with that one-shot kill because 1886 has a very high, total damage. That's why one-shot kills are fairly easy to get from this rifle. Now, currently, when I'm making this video this week, there's actually one on sale. 1886 rifle is actually on sale at the weekly vendor. It actually comes with damage to armor, which is fine. I actually don't mind damage to armor. I would say 3 attributes are totally fine here, which is obviously headshot damage, which I have, damage to target out of cover, and also damage to armor. So if you have any 3 of this, it's totally fine. Now, for the talent, obviously, we're going to be using determined talent because this allows us to easily land those body shot or leg shot or hand shot or whatever. It'll count as headshots. So fairly simple, way to just get those easy kills, right? One-shot kills. Now, for the secondary rifle, it doesn't matter which rifle you're using. I have the Urban MDR here, but as long as it's a rifle and a high-end rifle, that's all it matters. And obviously, the talent matters. I chose Rifleman talent over here. At first, I thought this talent will not work properly, but it is. Because our build giving us that headshot kills very easily, the Rifleman talent works, it procs really easily as well. Because Rifleman needs you to land headshots. Not a kill, just headshot to give you that weapon damage stack. You can get up to % of weapon damage from this. And since we are getting those headshots from body, even hands and legs and anywhere in the body, basically, it counts. It procs and it refreshes every time you land those headshots and get the kills or body shot, like I said. It constantly refreshes that talent. So as long as you're firing your weapon and killing, you have 50% weapon damage. Simply active all the time. Now, you can actually use other talent as well, something like let's say streamline talent. If you're not using any of your skill, then you can just set and forget with the streamline talent. You'll get 40% of weapon damage and 42% of weapon damage, which is 8% less than Rifleman, but you don't have to worry about getting those headshots and stuff to keep it active, basically. So you can use streamline, but I am using my skill. Like, I do use the shield a lot because we are using a rifle, and with rifle you can actually use the shield to protect yourself, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm sticking with the Rifleman here. But again, if you don't use any skill or you don't need to use any skill, then Streamline will be the better option because it's pretty much set and forget. So this is basically the talents I recommend, and obviously the weapons as well. Now, as for the build, well, what's happening here? It looks pretty colorful, just like the Marksman rifle, right? Well, let me explain what's going on in here. First of all, let's talk about the specialization because it also matters in terms of damage and also survivability. I'm choosing the gunner. You can see I'm using the gunner right now because I'm taking the advantage of gunner's 10% armor on kill to keep myself alive because I'm, especially mostly playing solo, so I need that healing. So I'm getting that. Now, 10% may seem low, but on a build like this, that 10% do add up really quickly because you're constantly shooting and getting those kills, and that 10% do add up, like I said, really quickly. Now, Gunner also gives you a weapon handling as well for just standing still, 10% weapon handling, which is nice as well for basically any build, that is. Now, if you want the highest damage, I recommend using the sharpshooter specialization because that adds more headshot damage to the build, and that improves the damage and puts it to that 27 million mark, which I just mentioned early on in the video. And now, as for the build over here, obviously we're using the Tinkerer mask. I do have some high-end pieces, some gear set here as well, which I want to talk about. So first of all, let's talk about the mask here, which is the Tinkerer. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with any headshot damage attribute, which is fine. We have a headshot damage mod here. But what does this mask do? Well, if you don't know, let me give you a brief here. Well, first of all, you cannot use any exotic or named item weapons because it won't work. You need to use high-end weapons, and those high-end weapons needs to be the exact same type of weapons, which in this case rifle and rifle. So that's why we chose two rifles, right? And if you do that, then your secondary rifle talent gets transferred into your primary weapon, which is what's happening here as well. So basically that's what the mask do. Now, as for the high-end pieces, obviously I'm choosing the zoo set. I'm using two pieces of that, which is giving us not just magazine size, but also giving us rifle damage, which is 20%. So for the chest piece, I got weapon damage, headshot damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage mod, and obviously the headhunter talent. So that's my chest piece here. Now the second piece of zoo I'm using is the backpack, which has weapon damage, headshot damage. It has skill haste. I wish it was weapon handling. That would be nice, but it is what it is. We got a headshot damage mod and obviously the vigilance talent. Now, vigilance, even when I'm playing solo, I'm using it because, like I said, I'm using a shield, so vigilance can stay active basically all the time because I'm not getting shot, on the body. Mostly, I'm getting shot on the shield. However, if you want, same amount of damage like vigilance, you can use something like unstoppable force. It'll give you the exact same damage. If you stay in cover most of the time, you can use composure. It is a bit less damage, but it's always active whenever you're in cover, so should be fine. So you can use that. If you want more survivability, like bonus armor or something, you can use bloodsucker talent. That will give you crazy amount of bonus armor, which is not bad. So that's my backpack here. Now, as for the gear set, what I'm doing, well, I'm using two piece of breaking point gear set because that gives us rifle damage 25%, and that's what we are using. So we got weapon damage, headshot damage for the holster, and for the gloves, we have weapon damage, again, headshot damage here. So that's two piece of the breaking point. Now, as for the knee pads, obviously we're going to be using the Fox's Prayer because we are using a rifle build, so we do get that rifle damage from it, and that damage to target out of cover is really hard to ignore. It is really high damage, plus we can change the attribute to headshot damage as well. Like if you use any other knee pads than Fox's Prayer, you'll see how your damage just got reduced. You have to use Fox's Prayer if you want to see that higher damage number. It helps a lot. Now, what about something like Turmoil knee pads? I wouldn't recommend it. First of all, it's a Sheshka piece. It gives you crit chance, no damage, nothing whatsoever, and you can't even change the attribute to like headshot damage. Plus, the secondary damage that you see, like the copy paste damage numbers, it's nice that you are firing the bullet, your gun one time, and with one bullet you're killing two targets. Yeah, that's fun until there is no enemy skills or an enemy with a helmet. Because if that second damage hits the enemy with the helmet or enemy skill, you will lose your headhunter buff because that second damage number doesn't count as headshot. It basically copies whatever damage number you're doing on the build. It doesn't count as a headshot. You will lose the headhunter buff. If you're okay with that and you're okay with hitting less, like, less than 20 million actually, then yeah, use Turmoil. But I'm just going to stick with Fox's Prayer and hit 27, 26 million like that. So that's basically the build. Now, if I show you my stats, you can see my headshot damage is not that high. It's only 174%. I just wanted to hit 150% for Headhunter to work fully, and obviously I've achieved that. I just have too much weapon damage and rifle damage stacked up on the build. That's why our damage is so high. That's where the damage is actually coming from. Now, as for the rifle, I already said the rifle is on sale this week. But if you're watching in a different week, next week or something, you can craft the weapon if you have the blueprint for that. that. And as for the expertise, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. If you have something with, let's say, 10% weapon expertise or 14%, 15%, which is not that hard to get, to be honest, you will do really good. Just try to hit that 25 million damage, and that should be the sweet spot. It's enough damage to like one shot basically most of the enemies in the open world, including bosses. So try to hit that damage number and you should be fine. And you can change things around. Heck, you can even add a steelwork piece to get yourself 10% armor on kill if you want. Change the talent around. If you don't like rifleman, try streamline, try flatline. You can also use in sync talent. That will work too, because it gives you 30% of weapon damage as well. I mean, skill damage and weapon damage. So if you have a skill like a drone or turret active, you will proc that as well. So that's definitely a viable option. So yeah, take it as a template, try things around, see which one you feel comfortable with it. And obviously let me know your thoughts in the comment section and leave a like if you like the video and subscribe if you want. And I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.